Hi Beth, friends. This is my weekly video to you from an unusual place. I'm in the gondola on the way down from Aspen Mountain. I'm having the great blessing this week to be teaching at the Wexner Institute's Summer Institute for a new cohort of lay leaders who are learning about the Jewish tradition, about leadership through the Wexner program. And they host this in Aspen, and they asked me to teach, and I was very, very touched to be able to say yes. But I'm already thinking about Shabbat in Los Angeles and being with all of you. I'll say from the very beginning that I'll be leading the meditation minyan this Shabbat. If you'd like to join me at 9:15 upstairs, and also in addition to the regular Shabbat service happening upstairs with the clergy of Beth, I'll be doing a breakout kind of Hama'alot style meditation, iyun, like a close look into some prayers, into some singing during the Torah service. I'd love to have you join. So it's impossible to look at this landscape and not think of the Psalm of Shir HaMa'alot, one of the songs of ascents, Esa Einai El HaHarim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, I lift up my eyes to the mountains, and from where does my help come? And we know that song because we sung it in all different settings, Esa Einai El HaHarim, and we're used to the words, but one of the great things about slowing down is you can look at words again that you've been used to with a new meaning. So, why did the author of that song, King David or anyone else, say, I lift up my eyes to the mountains and not I lift up my eyes to the heavens, right? I lift up my eyes to Shamayim. Esa Einai El HaShamayim. Right, if the idea is that the help is coming from God, from the Holy One, throughout history, our people, other peoples have understood that the heavens is where the Holy One, the Divine, is. Why mountains? Well, first of all, mountains have an important, not always easy, history in our peoplehood, right? Faith was born and tested in a terrible and important crucible on a mountain on the 22nd chapter of Breshit, where Abraham and Isaac had their conversation with one another, never spoke to each other after that. But that was an important moment in our people's history. I've got to switch hands because the hand is beginning to hurt me. And then, of course, Revelation was on Mount Sinai. So we met God. Generations after Abraham tried to please God, we met God on a mountain. And of course, it was from that mountain that Moshe looked down and saw the rebellion against this new idea of a single God. So mountains have been very powerful for us. So maybe that's one reason why the psalmist, living with the nostalgia and the memory of those stories, says that I look up to the mountains to find my help. Or maybe it's because people don't live in Shamayim, and they live on mountains. People live there, lived lives and lived experiences. And our interactions with other parts of humanity can also happen on mountains. And maybe it's the psalmist inviting us to see that part of our searching for help and for connection, even for a divine spiritual version of it, comes in our interactions with other people. I want to share forward a beautiful piece of Torah that I heard from two of my teachers and friends this weekend, Rabbi David Ingber, who I've become friendly with through the Hartman program years ago, and Rabbi Shira Stutman, who's the rabbi at 6th and I Historic Synagogue in Washington, D.C., and she and I went to college together. I'll combine two of the things that they said together. Shira was saying that in Parshat Maseh, there's a long section which, if you're just listening to the Torah reading, it can come out as incredibly boring. We went from this place and we camped there. We left there, we went to the next place. We were in Sukkot and we camped there, we left. We went to Ramses, we camped there, we left. We went to Pihachirot, we camped there, and we left. You could very easily fall asleep in that section. Why does that section appear in the Torah? Right? And so few of those places in that list of encampments. Is there anything content-based that we learn about what happened there? And her answer was that, first of all, there's a midrash that says that this is God's way of remembering his journey with his beloved children, right? And sometimes just mentioning the place reminds you what you did there. Oh, remember that place? The silent narrative is that's where I held you. Remember that place? That's where you cried. Remember that place? This is where you were hungry and I tried to feed you. And we can imagine a version of that remembering and that nostalgia with people that we love. Rabbi Ingber added on to that in a different context. He talks about the body's ability to metabolize our life experiences and turn them into meaning. Our body's not just metabolizing nutrients of food. Our body's metabolizing nutrients of experiences. We have a physical and embodied reaction to the interactions that we have with the people in homes, in valleys, and on mountains. And part of bringing holiness, coaxing holiness out of life, is to remember those experiences that we've had with people in all different kinds of places, and to metabolize them into ones that could send us into a greater focus, a greater turn towards purpose, a greater turn towards love and curiosity. And so as we read through Shabbat Message this week, whether you're in shul or not, and you hear all those places mentioned, think of them as places where people loved, cried, were scared, were lonely, helped one another, and in helping one another and being there for one another, their metabolized lived experiences were one of the ways in which they met God for the first time. And every one of those opportunities is one for us to meet God and one another through one another again and again and again. And when I interact with you in shul or elsewhere, I meet God. And if I were to share with you a hike on a mountain, I would meet God. And I'm looking forward to seeing you this weekend in Los Angeles, and together we can pray to God. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you soon.